IPVanish protects every device you own. Your phone, your laptop, your smart TV. If it connects to the internet, it should be protected. IPVanish encrypts your connection and masks your IP address, helping keep your browsing private at home and on public Wi-Fi. And with no device limits, one account covers everything. Stream with added privacy. Browse securely. Connect with confidence. Right now, save 83% off the 2-year plan. Get started today at ipvanish.com/audio and take control of your privacy with IPVanish.
Robots Radio. Games. Lore. Stories. Community. Just press play. This show is brought to you by our patrons at patreon.com/Elder Scrolls Lorecast.
Robots Radio presents The Elder Scrolls Lorecast.
Welcome to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast, a place where the Elder Scrolls community can come together to discuss the boundaries of our knowledge about the universe of the Elder Scrolls. Adventurers, it is time again for the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. I am your host, Tom, or Robots, and I'm here, as usual, with my wonderful co-host, the Lotus of Doom. Lotus, it's ESO time again, my friend. It is. It is time for some scary stuff, some scary things.
That is what the music implied. But at the same time, I wouldn't really consider Kynareth to be the most frightening of the things.
No. Kynareth is not particularly scary. Kynareth is nice and friendly and stuff. But I've been playing on PC because PC gets it first. I've been playing.
You sure do. Continue beta testing for me.
I've been beta testing the new content. And the whole time I'm probably 2 hours into the newest stuff.
Yep.
I'm just kind of taking my time looking around at things, checking out the city. Like Leowyn looks really good. Noticing little details about stuff. Like there's some board game that everybody has in their house. I don't know what that is, but I want to know. I want to know what that is. I'm just, paying attention to all the little notes, all the little details. And the whole time I'm playing, I'm thinking back to that time that we had Rich on the show, remember? And I was like an idiot. I was like, Rich, we should get more Dark Brotherhood stuff. And Dark Brotherhood stuff shows up. Spoilers. Yep. But I mean, it showed up a little bit in the the preview stuff, right? But
spoilers, the Dark Brotherhood still exists.
The Dark Brotherhood still exists, and they kill people, and that's a thing. But there's a lot more to it, and I'm deep into the story, and I'm like, I think I know what's happening, but I don't know for sure, and it's good. It's good so far. I've been having a great time. Yeah. I'm not that far in, but I'm having a great time. But I just had to start out the episode with that. I'm sorry. You sound completely bummed that you haven't.
Soon.
You haven't gotten into it yet.
We get till Tuesday.
Yeah. It'll be soon. But don't worry. Yep. It'll be awesome. But we are diving into the next of our wonderful divines, the wonderful Kynareth, who, I had fun researching this one. Kynareth shows up under a lot of different names, and the name itself is not overtly feminine, which I think is interesting. Although she tends to go by, the guise of a goddess, which is cool. But let's just dive into it. So, like usual, I pulled a lot of the notes from the UESP as the main source, but of course, I have looked at some other things as well. But they do a good job wrapping this stuff up for us to discuss. And it says here that Kynareth is the goddess of the heavens, the winds, the elements, and the unseen spirits of the air. She is a member of the 8/9 divines, depending on when you live, and patron of sailors and travelers. Kynareth is often invoked for auspicious stars at birth and for good fortune in daily life. In some legends, she is the first to agree to Lorkhan's divine plan to create the mortal plane and provides the space in the void for its creation. She has kind of this interesting connection with Lorkhan, which, of course, is notable, but we'll go into that a little bit more as we go on. Furthermore, she is associated with rain, and I like this. a phenomenon that is said not to have occurred before the removal of Lorkhan's divine spark. So it's almost as if she weeps for him, and that's the rain. I really like that symbology.
Yeah, that's a very I don't even know how you explain that. It's just a very, very good visual representation of something. Like that's with how kind of devoid, but also involves some of the Adrian Daedra tend to be, just like with their symbolism and everything like that. Having her tears be the rain is just like that's a pretty cool, but also pretty peaceful idea behind that.
Yeah, and this happens in other, like real world lore, and that's the reason why we get snow in the winter. There's always some sort of like story reason for it, which chances are is the same kind of thing here. It's probably not actually her tears, but it's interesting to think of that, being that she is the goddess of the heavens, the winds, the elements, spirits of the air. Like it makes sense, like the rain comes from the sky. So
yeah, it's more symbolic than she's actually just up there crying on us in game.
Right.
Probably, at least.
Which would be weird.
Yeah, it would be a little strange. She's just up there weeping anytime if you're ever in Glenumbra in ESO, she's just always there crying. Right. Because it never stops raining in that zone for some reason.
Yeah, she's just more in one place than everywhere else for some reason. So the section on mythology is pretty short. It says Kynareth is the mother of the demigod Morehouse, who we've talked about a little bit. She is also suspected to have communicated with Saint Alessia through visions of Pelinal's imminent arrival, Pelinal Whitestrake. So this goes back to the Alessian revolt. And
so way back
to the Manish races fighting against the Aelids and finding their freedom and creating an empire in the long run. And then this is interesting. The throat of the world is described as being Kynareth's sacred mountain by the Greybeards. And again, that makes sense. You have a goddess of the sky and the heavens. So the throat of the world being the tallest mountain in the world would be something that reaches up into her domain. So you would feel closer to her being up on the mountain. So the Greybeards fans of the Kynareth. Now, some other details here. We've got a number of different names she goes by, and this is one of those things that I've mentioned this on the show many times. I am not the lore master. I am somebody who is studying these things and coming across it just like anyone else. And why did I not put this together before? According to the followers of the divines, the sky goddess Kyn, worshipped by the Nords, Kynareth, they're the same. What is wrong with me? It's the beginning of the word. And I didn't I never stopped and thought Kynareth and Kyn are that's the analogous name for the Nordic people.
Yeah, hers is always the easiest for me to remember because it's basically just less of the name.
Yeah, like Akatosh, Alkosh, like a lot of these I was just like, oh yeah, these are the same ones. These are the same ones. But for some reason I just never thought about Kynareth as being like, oh, that's Kyn. So yeah. Well, there you go, everybody. I'm a genius. So worshipped by the Nords as the strongest of the sky spirits. I like this point. Strongest of the sky spirits. There are more than one, but she's the primary one, which is interesting. And the widow of Shor, so Shor being Lorkhan, which is why she would cry for him, right? Is the Nordic aspect of Kynareth. Rain is said to be Kyn's tears as she mourns the loss of her beloved Shor, since Rain is believed not to have appeared until after his divine spark was forcibly removed. It is said Kyn gifted men with the Thu'um, so they could harness the language of the dragons and use its power to save themselves from the wrath of Alduin and the dragons. So, okay, pause here. Kyn, Kynareth, and Lorkhan married together, right? She was the first to be convinced to build the mortal plane, to devote her own power and being into the creation of a world among these divines. But then you have Akatosh, who creates the dragons, and the dragons are in ways aspects of him, bringing about the things that will eventually just happen in the world, right? They're kind of just bring about everything. And she stands against them by using the Thu'um, by giving men the gift of the dragon voice, taking it basically from them and repurposing it in men so that men can stand against the dragons. What does she have against Akatosh?
Yeah, I don't know. It's strange because there's just I don't know. There's a peculiar amount of things that you can, I guess, depending upon how deep you want to look into it, it seems like they would have a bit more of a synergistic relationship than they seem to. Because when you think of it, I mean, dragons are known for also being aerial. I mean, this is like a physical version of what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's like they fly, birds fly, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you associate a lot of that with wind and, you know, the sky. And it's like, that's kind of her. And it's like, nope, they don't work together. It's not like a thing of harmony. It's they almost have like they're pushing against each other as opposed to working together, which is interesting. I guess birds push against air to go up. So we could really stretch that in all different directions, but that's not kind of the point. It's weird.
I think it's kind of interesting here. It's as if Kynareth and Lorkhan were associated, that they both were acting together and were of one mind, if not very similar minds about the creation of existence. And Akatosh created time, but is also the end of time as well. So it's as if she doesn't want that to occur. She wants to maintain existence, and Lorkhan's no longer here to try to convince the divines to maintain the existence of the world. So it's almost like she's taking over that role in a way.
I guess that's kind of, she could almost be that opposing force, so to speak, instead of the normal flow of things, whereas Lorkhan kind of tricked things into changing. She's ironically, in her way of keeping something the same, she's breaking another cycle and changing that. So it's kind of weird that by maintaining a pattern of similarity, you're actually breaking the flow of change, which had become normal. So it's weird that she's almost doing the opposing thing to actually do the same thing. It's just a weird it's strange how that kind of works out.
Right. It also, if I was a mannish race in Tamriel, I would most likely worship Kynareth over Akatosh, because Kynareth is all about, at least according to this and some of the other things we know, about the sustenance and the ongoing existence of the world, whereas Akatosh is eventually going to finish the Kalpa. He's going to wrap things up, end it all, and potentially begin another Kalpa, if that's even really a thing, which we seem like it might be. But there's a lot here to unpack. It seems like the kind of thing that, I don't know, everybody should be worshiping her if you want existence to continue. If you plan on sticking around and don't, I guess if you don't adhere to the seemingly Thalmor style of things, where it's like, no, we all need to become just amorphous puffs of magic energy where we get to be divine, like the old times, which sounds really boring, but like sans that, and you actually want to be in the current Kalpa / world that people are living in, you'd think you'd actually lean more into praying to Kynareth, because she'd prevent, theoretically, the end of this cycle, Kalpa, however you want to break time up. It's like she's theoretically extending that if things go her way. Yeah. She has some other roles too in some other cultures, and we're definitely going to get to that as well. But this is just, I would love to hear people's thoughts on this, because there are a lot of these aspects about, especially the Aedra, that we don't really ever get to suss out, because you and I have talked about this before. In the games, we interact with the Daedric princes way more than we ever interact directly with the Aedric powers. So it's also interesting to me that in the temples for the divines, you have all of these different gods, even though they may be opposed to each other in certain aspects. I guess that would be similar to worshiping like the pantheon of Greek gods, because the Greek gods don't always agree. You know, they're often sabotaging each other's attempts at things. And you can worship one or all of them if you wanted to, but they don't live harmoniously.
Sure. And there's also, in that same vein, gods, when they're referred to, or deities, they have their limitations. It's not just this omnipotent being that has no limitations. Each of these divines and or deitic princes, they have limitations. They can't just do whatever they want all the time. They're super powerful, but it's not just like, yep, just gonna do whatever I want whenever I want to. It's like within your realm of power, you can do that, but beyond that, it's like other gods can work together to prevent things, and they're all fallible in a way.
Yeah. So anyway, I find this stuff particularly interesting. So let's get through some of the other connections that she has to some of these other races and cultures. The Khajiit Kynareth, before we do that, Kynareth has a temple in the city of Whiterun, which many of us have visited. One of the deities of this temple, or duties of this temple, is to tend the Gilder Green, which is considered sacred to Kynareth's followers. So it makes sense that she would be worshipped by the Nords because she gave them the Thu'um. So that makes sense. The Khajiit interpretation of Kynareth is the goddess of the winds. Kynarthi is the word they use for Kynareth, which totally makes sense. And good old dumb me didn't put that together until I was doing the research on this. Kynarthi's roost, like there are places that are named after that.
Yep.
Kynarthi acts as a psychopomp for faithful Khajiits. So when the Khajiit die, they go into, quote unquote, the heavens, and she escorts them to the afterlife. So she basically fulfills that role for their culture. And that role is actually fulfilled by different deities in different cultures, theoretically. Right. But for them, it's Kynareth, or Kynarthi, which is cool.
Yep.
Kynareth is often associated with Zenithar, and there's a connection here. So she not only has a connection with Lorkhan, but she also has a connection with Zenithar. Craftsmen use natural materials to create, and so one cannot revere Zenithar without acknowledging the power of Kynareth. Zenithar is like the craftsman deity, which is pretty easy to remember. Canna feathers can be offered to Kynareth at her shrines. This is a bird that looks it's got green and yellowy colored feathers. In return, the one making the offering will temporarily transform into a canna, which is a bird. The island of Bettany is considered holy land of Kynareth. This was a factor for Daggerfall's involvement in the War of Bettany. It was also the reason why the conflict escalated to the Battle of, I'm going to mess this up, Cryingane? Is that the way you pronounce that?
Beautiful.
Field.
I got nothing.
Cryingane Field, which ended the war. Kynareth is the patron deity of Alcair, Daggerfall, and the Hrothgarian Mountains. So those are her other roles among those cultures. Now, with the Redguard, of course, the Redguard culture is descended from the... I lost the words. I was doing so well. The Yakuden. I was doing so well. Before I lost
I was gonna let it play out until you needed me.
Yeah, it always happens. And so, of course, the Yakudens have different deities, and so the association here is actually pretty clear. Whereas a lot of times there isn't an analogous one, or the analogy is pretty rough. So among the Redguards, there's Tava, who's also known as the Lady of the Air. So very strong correlation there. And
it's an easy connection to make.
Easy connection, right? She is the spirit of the air and the goddess of weather in the Redguard pantheon, and has dominion over all elements of sun and storm, save only for the stars, which belong to Ruptga. Tava is most famous for leading the Yakudens to the Isle of Herne after the destruction of their homeland. So again, played a role of, it wasn't like a psychopomp in the sense that you're leading somebody into the afterlife, but a form of salvation, which is similar. You can use that word for people seeking refuge.
Right.
She was basically a psychopomp for their salvation to a new land, which is interesting. She has since become associated or assimilated into the mythology of Kynareth. She is still very popular in Hammerfell among sailors, which makes sense for the winds and the weather,
Sure.
right? Like if you're going to be sailing across the ocean, you're going to want to make sure that you're worshiping the right god who's going to make sure that you don't, drown, or the winds die and you don't go anywhere and starve to death.
Yeah, you'll get left out at sea until the Maormer finds you.
Right. Or the Slode? Do the Slode just slither through the water?
Yeah, or the Slode very slowly find you.
Slowly just kind of through. Yeah. I don't know how that works. So she's still very popular in Hammerfall among the sailors, and her shrines can be found in most cities, port cities. In the mid-Second Era, the city of Lainil was called Tava's Blessing before being renamed after the Lainlin family. And then the red-tailed hawk is considered sacred to Tava, as is the Goshawk, I think is how you pronounce that.
Goshawk? Yeah, I guess it's a Goshawk. I don't really know how you'd pronounce that. That's a weird word.
Mm-hmm. And this part is interesting too to me. Harpies are seen as abominations by her faithful. So this idea...
That's weird to me.
Yeah.
That I didn't know that prior to any of this, but that... I wouldn't have assumed something like that just because harpies... I mean, I don't know deep harpy lore, but like it seems like harpies would almost be more in tune with something like Kynareth as opposed to abominations, unless there's more to their creation that I need to look up. So,
yeah, Goshawk, wayward world.
Oh, that flows better.
That makes more sense.
I like Goshawk. Yeah, that would make sense.
But yeah, maybe we'll have to look up harpies now. We always end up with some sort of question that we need to dig more into by the time we're actually doing the episode.
That's the thing about these is when you're learning all this lore, you end up rabbit holing down all these other paths where it's like, well, why this or why this? And you end up 5 hours later, it's just open windows all over your computer. And it's like, what have I done? I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, at some point you can't just keep doing that because then you can't actually record an episode. You'll just be stuck in Windows. But my guess would be that harpies are a form of like an abomination. Like they are a mix between a mannish or elvish person.
Yeah, there's got to be more to their creation or existence that's not natural. So like, okay, well, you're not like a bird. You're this weird half bird thing. Right.
It's like they were cursed into this like, I don't know, abominable form that never should have existed or something like that. Right. And so therefore it goes against Kynareth's, use of the sky or something like that. But anyway, that's the basis for her connections to the different cultures and things. And we're going to do the mid break, but we're going to be back to talk about some of the items and artifacts that are connected to her specifically. So stay tuned for that.
The skies are marked with numberless sparks, each a fire, and every one a sign.
Patrons, you guys are freaking amazing. I'm pulling it up right now. There are 48 of you who help support this show. That is insane. This is amazing, guys. And thank you especially to Noodle Al Dente, our tier 5 patron currently, who supports us and has been supporting us for a while now. Thank you so much, Noodle. And you know what? We've got some new members that I need to say thank you to that have signed up in the last month. I'm pulling them up right now. So here, let's say thanks to Birch Games, Adam S., and Daniel M. These are our new members in May. So thank you for signing on to support the show. You guys are amazing. All of you guys are amazing. Thank you for being here. And if you are interested in getting ad-free versions of the show or, the episode a day early or joining us on a future episode to chat, any of that kind of stuff, then check out patreon.com/Elder Scrolls Lorecast in order to see all the different tiers. And I got some questions about this recently. Somebody was like, I've thought about signing up on the Patreon, but I didn't know how easy it was to set up payment and stuff. Like, does it take credit card and that kind of thing? And yeah, it takes credit card. You can use PayPal. You can basically set it up however you want. You can sign up for 1 month. If you just want to do 1 month and just join us on an episode, let's say you want to be tier 4 to join us for 1 month and help support the show for just a little while, and then you can cancel it, at any point during that month, so it doesn't, renew the next month or whatever. And that's basically how it goes. Sea Chaser, you should still be tier 5. Let me look. I didn't see you come up as tier 5. current tier is nope, I don't see you in here. You know, a new month started, so double check that the billing has gone through. That's probably what you need to do, and then it'll confirm it. So just double check it. But thank you. I'd love to have you join us again next month. All right, so thanks everyone for your support. Let's move on with the rest of the show.
Ahoy there, ye landlubbers! Avast! My name is Captain Lorkhan, and I'll be your guide out on the Sea of Thieves. If you love the idea of stealing treasure, cutting down cursed skeletons, fighting off krakens, and raiding forts filled to the brim with shinies, then Sea of Thieves is the game for you. Join me each week as I dive into the news and bring back the nuggets of information that any sailor worth their weight in salt would desire. You don't have to be a pirate legend to gain access to my podcast. Just search for Keelhauled, a Sea of Thieves podcast in your podcast app of choice, or head over to robotsradio.net or captainlogan.podbeam.com and get ready to set sail for adventure. Arr.
Yes, you're entirely brilliant. Conquering madness and all that. Blah, 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 blah.
Lotus, I know you're a big fan of all the different fun items and things that you can get in the games, especially when you're trying to kit out your character for like dungeons and stuff. Does anything come to mind when you think of Kynareth specifically?
Well, so it's kind of funny. Yes, but not for the reason that I guess you would normally think.
There's usually something. Like usually, I know you well enough at this point, and you're like, this is what I always think about when I think about this divine or whatever.
It is, and it's the Lord's Mail, which is one of her artifacts. And unfortunately, the reason I specifically think / remember this artifact is because I always get it in games after it is basically useless, which is not a selling point, unfortunately, to Kynareth. But very specifically, the most recent example I can give of it is it's a legendary artifact that you can get in Elder Scrolls Blades, the phone game. Mm-hmm. And I had literally just finished crafting myself enchanted dragonbone armor. So I was dressed to the nines, good to go. I opened my treasure chest that I get, and I pull a Lord's Mail. I was like, oh, no way, this is awesome. And I equip it, and it just butchers all my stats, because it's just like, this is way worse than what you just built. And it's like, oh my God, every time with the Lord's Mail. So I don't know what the deal is. I always get the Lord's Mail directly after I don't need the Lord's Mail.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, which is too bad, because it's kind of a neat artifact. Like, it should make me happy and not sad, but that's never how it works out.
Yeah, it looks really cool too. It's like
It does look very cool.
It's like a black cuirass, and it's got like these little shoulders that kind of come out from the sides, and it has these like pleated the parts that go like over your hips, like the top of your lower, like underneath your belt. Like this pleated, almost like what you would see in something like samurai armor. Yeah, like the little pleating that comes down, but it's all like black and like a dark red, like a burgundy color. Like those.
Yeah, it's very well. It's darker than the Ebon Heart Pact colors, but actually, ironically, it's kind of very similar to the Robots Radio colors.
I like those colors. I like reds and blacks. I think I use those a lot in things. When I dress up my characters, I often usually my sneaky Khajiit, I will dress in like a very dark, like crimson or black with like crimson highlights, and when I color out the outfits and things. So. Yeah, I think that looks really cool, especially when you're being like a sneaky assassin. Like those are the colors that, and then if you get blood on your outfit, you can't tell.
Yeah, it's part of the motif,
right? Yeah, it just adds to the decoration. That's so dark. So the Lord's Mail is also called the Armor of Morehouse or the Gift of Kynareth, which would make sense. And it's an artifact given to mortals by Kynareth, one of the 8 divines. It is an ancient plated mithril or ebony cuirass of unsurpassed quality, considered to be heavy armor. It grants unsurpassed quality, except for when you're Lotus of Doom and you've just crafted dragon
and you
armor.
build something better and get real sad when you finally get it.
Yep. It grants the wearer the power to absorb or regenerate health, resist the effects of spells, and resist or even cure poison. It is said that whenever Kynareth deems the wearer unworthy, the Lord's mail will be taken away and hidden for the next chosen one. The mail was originally owned during the Merithic era by the Bull Mori House, a demigod and early cultural hero of the Syro-Nordics, who was closely associated with Kynareth and the Lord. Wait, hold on. Why didn't I notice this before? What does this mean? The Lord.
I don't know. I've never actually seen that. The Lord's constellation.
The constellation.
I was going to say they mean the Lord constellation, correct?
I was like,
because it's capitalized. I was like,
associated with Jesus.
Okay, yeah, so the Lord constellation.
The Lord constellation.
Yeah, that is what it is. Because I was clicking on that, I was like, why is this capitalized? But yeah, it is the constellation.
Yeah, I didn't stop and think about that before. The cuirass was rumored to have later been taken from Mori House by Kynareth herself due to his arrogance. The cuirass is sacred to the Imperial Legion and the Imperial Cult and is accepted as uniform in the Legion, which is kind of cool. Like you put that on and they're like, oh, you're one of us.
Right. You're good enough.
Good enough. Indeed, the armor has been known to bear the Red Dragon sigil of the Third Empire on its breastplate. So she decorates it out like it's the Legion, which makes sense because she helped with the Alessian Rebellion, which started the Manish empires. Like the more you dig into this stuff, the more she is very much for the Manish races and the sustaining of existence and not moving the elves into divinehood, not ending the Kelpa.
Really kind of support the current concept of eras that exist, the Manish eras.
Yeah. She's a fan of us manly men in tights.
It's a great movie.
That's a great movie. All right, so there's two other artifacts here. We've got the boots of the Crusader, which have very pointy toes.
They certainly do.
The boots of the Crusader, also known as the boots of Kynareth, were created by Kynareth. The wearer will not be attacked by creatures of the forest. Sir Junkin of the original Knights died while searching for the boots. The pilgrim visited the shrine of Kynareth and was told the location of the Grove of Trials by the High Priestess, later to become Sir Avida Vesnia. Kynareth tested the pilgrim by sending the Forest Guardian, a giant bear, to attack them. When the pilgrim didn't fight back, having reverence for nature, Kynareth allowed them entrance to the grotto where the boots were hidden. The boots were needed to retrieve the mace of the Crusader. With them, the wearer's faith is strengthened, and they can cross the void of doubt. This sounds like somebody's Dungeons and Dragons adventure that went on too long, and they just started like adding more and more and more and more stuff. Doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I can kind of see it where it's just like we're reaching a little bit here.
Yeah. Now, all of these events are part of the Knights of the Nine expansion for Oblivion. And these are some of the things that you do in that adventure and can acquire through that. So, man, I need to go back and play that. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. I remember that
being a very good expansion, but I also have not played that in ages.
Yeah, I definitely didn't have any understanding about any of this stuff at the time I played through it, and probably was like, I don't know what's happening. I just got cool boots. Because that's how that goes. The final item is the Ring of the Wind. The Ring of the Wind is a legendary treasure of Elsewhere, sacred to Kynareth. It was owned by the nimble acrobat Kisimba Spring Snow, who is said to always land on her feet, except when she chose to land on the feet of others. Oh man, this is a cool looking ring. It's kind of shiny. I think
it's very pixelated. Well, very not pixelated. That's not the word I meant.
Simple.
It's very blocky because it's Morrowind.
Mm-hmm. But it looks like it's designed in a way where like the whole ring is made out of crystal, like a bluish and whitish crystal. And it's as if the ring itself was carved from the crystal, like
it's
completely.
Almost designed like it looks almost like it's got a tower shield attached to the front of the ring itself.
Yeah. So that's kind of weird, but yeah, pretty cool stuff. That's all the artifacts we have for Kynareth, but Kynareth, another interesting divine.
Yes, and since I actually grabbed it during the break, and I've been trying to remember to grab them each episode, this is going to be a little more visual, but again, we'll do what we can to describe it for the audio listeners. Kynareth, or Kynes, oh my God, her statue is it's basically a pair of wings kind of folded in toward the middle, as if the wings were kind of making a nest for the creature itself. And then there's a blue crystal in the middle of it, is what the shrine itself looks like. Or if you look at it from the back, it looks like soft serve ice cream. So,
I never considered that as wings. It always kind of looked like a shell to me. Yeah, but you're right.
Yeah, I guess it could. Yeah, I was going to say, I always assumed that it was like the wings of her closing in around whatever the creature is, because it's an undefined creature. But yeah, it's forming a shell basically out of the wings. Yep.
Right. Here, I'm pull up an image for you guys on the stream so you can see it. But this is interesting. Yeah, I never visualized it because it is such an odd shape.
It is. It's I like the soft serve ice cream thing. When you see it from the other side, it's less of a joke, more of that's actually sort of kind of what it looks like. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I always saw it as like maybe shaped kind of like a shell because it's got that like kind of bulbous and coming to a point kind of thing going.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's definitely not a shell though. And if you look at the bottom of it, the way the detail kind of curls around.
They like curl in. I always assumed that those were just like the wings that are kind of scooping in on it.
It might be, Kynareth protecting humanity from actually being destroyed. Maybe that's what that's all about.
Who knows?
Who knows? So cool stuff. But that's all I got for Kynareth. I feel like this was a quick episode.
Yes. Well, one other thing, just because I'm much more into the, hey, here's a random thing related to this topic that we're talking about that I want to just kind of recommend to people. So what we had mentioned earlier with her artifacts specifically being kind of focused around Oblivion with the Knights of the Nine and stuff. One other thing, it is another Oblivion reference for you. For anybody who likes the music to these games, there is one track called The Wings of Kynareth. That's literally the name of the track. It's off the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion soundtrack. It is a very well-known song. You probably have heard it more than you actually realize, and strong recommendation to give it a listen if you have access to it. It is very pretty. So it's one of the few that's got like a direct name. Like it's the song titles are very lore-centric a lot of times themselves. So this one just happened to tie in directly since it's The Wings of Kynareth. It doesn't really get much more direct connection than that. So
yeah, that sounds cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yes, it's a very good track. And just for the sake of making a brief reference to it, because there's something else I was looking up, because I don't want to leave it completely undone. We're not going to go super into this. We had mentioned like maybe there's some reason why she's opposed to harpies and thinks they're an abomination. They seem to have a potential tie-in to Nocturnal, and which again, you're dealing with Daedra, so that would kind of, if true, that could be why they're viewed as an abomination. Also, it seems like there's some inbreeding things related to harpies, so that's probably not good.
Yeah, probably not.
More abomination stuff. So those are just a couple reference points without going into a lore side tangent on harpies. Just a couple quick little to-dos about like potential reasons that she's not so great with the harpy thing.
Mm-hmm. I want to know more about her connection with Lorkhan, because
yes, it seems like there's potential there depending on the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. I mean, you have the heart of Lorkhan and the finding of it and the disappearance of the Dwemer and the power that's inherent in it and all of these things. And you have the connection to the creation of the world, led by Lorkhan. And then you have the towers breaking. this is one of those things that I want to know where the series is going, because it seems like everything's moving in this direction of trying the tension between trying to end the Kelpa and trying to maintain it and keep it going.
Right.
And that is becoming more and more fragile as things move forward. So the coming of Molag Bal in Oblivion was in some ways an attempt at that, sort of.
Oh, you mean Dagon?
Or Dagon in Oblivion, Molag Bal in ESO,
Molag
Dagon
Bal in ESO.
Oblivion. Yep. Then you have the events of Skyrim and the dragons returning, which were ushering in basically the end times. And then that gets stalled. And then you have the goals of the Thalmor, who are trying to mantle the gods and basically become gods and end they don't want existence, it seems, to keep going, because they want to become gods in order to lord over existence, because they believe that they, descended from gods and deserve to be back there.
Sure.
But that stands in direct opposition to people like Kynareth. Like, if the Thalmor are coming into more power in something like TES 6, then it would make sense that Kynareth would take a more active stance against them, and that we might see something having to do with that. Just a thought.
Yeah, it's going. It'll be interesting when we finally progress more concretely in the storyline as well, because so far we've had sidling alongside things in the story since Skyrim, and we've obviously had information filled in the past, but we haven't progressed really much more solidly into the future, with a couple weird references from Elder Scrolls Legends, the card game. But for the most part, it's like pretty much that's our endpoint right now, and we don't understand what exactly are the ramifications of what happened in Skyrim, and for that matter, what happened in Skyrim, because with this series, there's a lot of weird breaks that can happen, and that, they're dealing with Elder Scrolls and all these things. It's like it's hard to tell, like, what happened, what's canon, what is considered what actually happened at the end of Skyrim. So
yeah, we won't know.
Who knows?
Right.
Yeah, who knows? It's like, theoretically, the Emperor could be dead or alive.
Right. And
depending upon how you handle the Dark Brotherhood.
Sea Chaser points out in chat, says she removed the dwarves. And I don't know if you're joking or not, but that got me thinking, like, was she protecting the heart of Lorkhan from being misused? And the dwarves, being Myr, were maybe trying to use technology and the power of the heart to mantle the gods, right? So
that's an interesting idea.
Using the power of the heart and protecting it to keep the dwarves away, and maybe got rid of them. But it also makes sense that she would have enabled somebody like Talos, a man, to power the Numidium.
Just run amok with the Numidium.
Right. Because that forwards the Manish race's agenda to maintain existence and to keep things going. And he says, not joke. You might be onto something, Sea Chaser. That could very well be a thing.
That definitely seems like it could have potential. That's kind of an interesting theory that I had never really heard or thought of.
Right. So what if we, instead of getting Dwemer mantling into godhood, we ended up with Talos mantling into godhood through the, Kynareth's, sticking her hand in there and doing something about it. But then again, Sea Chaser, you don't believe that any of the divines actually exist. So
well,
theory won't work for you.
This is a paradox in and of itself.
It's a paradox for you, Sea Chaser.
You just denied them and tried to just prove their existence beyond what they normally do, which is just kind of futz around and not do much. And it's like, oh my God, maybe they were way more influential. Well, at least Kyn was way more influential than we even realized. Who knows? and
well, get this. Then you have the connection with the Throat of the World and the Greybeards and the Thu'um.
Oh yeah.
Right? So
I like this. I don't know. This seems like a pretty creative. I like this speculator. This one seems kind of neat. It's different from what I've heard, so that's why I like this.
Yeah, Wayward says the Kynareth versus the Kelpic cycle thing sheds an interesting new light on Tava's role as sort of a patron of the forebears, given that the traditional i.e. crown, Yakuden religion is like the only human one that holds that the cycle is a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot to chew on. This is what's fun about doing these episodes, is that I always end up with a little bit slightly different perspective on something than I'd considered before.
Yeah. Yeah, some fascinating new takes on stuff that I certainly had not considered from what I had known of Kynareth, Kyn, any one of the names you'd like to use.
Kynareth, Kyn, Kynarthi, Tava.
Yeah.
Kynareth, Kyn, Kynarthi. We should just push them all together. They just be one big, like a big German word.
Run-on name.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We put all our heads together, and maybe we'll come up with something that really makes a lot of sense. But please feel free to jump into the Discord and drop some thoughts on this stuff. I would love to hear more about what you guys think about this, and if you think that this has some legs, or maybe we'll get a little bit more of info around this in the future with TES6.
Or if you have a counter to it where it's like, well, I don't think this because of this. Like, throw them out there. These are I like hearing different theories if you got them.
Yeah. I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts on this stuff. It's really cool. And Zuni in chat says, is there a cutoff date you have to upgrade to tier 4 or higher to be part of the patron show for that month? As long as you do it before the show, that's the end date. You got to make sure that you sign up before we do the show. This show is the patron episode is always the last Thursday of the month. So as long as you do it before that date, and make sure that you connect to the Discords, because that's where you connect your Patreon to the Discord. You'll get your role, which allows you into the patron only channels, and then you can be part of the chat as well. So yeah, we'd love to have you, Zuni. That would be awesome. That'd be awesome. So I try to make it as flexible as possible for everybody. I want to, I understand sometimes things get a little bit different with people's schedules, and when they have money to spend on things and all that stuff. So as long as you get in there right before it, you're good. All right. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in. Lotus, what else do you have going on? How's Tales doing? You guys, I'm sure you're going to be covering some really cool stuff pretty soon.
So actually we're going to be recording tomorrow just because of scheduling stuff. And we'll be doing our kind of deep dive into the new chapter, and me being sad that I'm not currently playing the new chapter, but Hyperpixie Gaming at ARC have definitely been really enjoying it. Hyperpixie actually is, I wish I knew her schedule off the top of my head, but she is being officially, as part of a stream team member, she'll be on the big Bethesda stream thing that they've been doing all week long, promoting the new thing. So if you don't follow Hyperpixie Gaming or Arcaneer on Arcaneer's Quest, definitely recommend it, because I've given out a couple copies of the game, and I know they also have more copies of Blackwood to give out to people in stream. So if that's something you have interest in partaking in, stop by, say hi. They're running them off and on throughout the event. They've been given, lots of good stuff from ZeniMax to promote the new chapter, but we'll be recording the podcast tomorrow and talking about all that goodness. But yeah, otherwise, I was going to say, I don't really have anything super exciting on my end. Hopefully I can stream this weekend, but we'll see. The weather's supposed to be nice. I'll probably get burnt outside.
Don't do it.
We'll see how that goes.
Don't do it. Stay inside. It's better inside. It's better. You get Elder Scrolls inside. You don't get that outside.
That is valid. It's a valid counterpoint.
Yes, and also less cancer.
That I am a big fan of. Big selling point on that bit.
The sun's good, but for very short periods of time.
Yeah, that's just it. And it's a tough balance.
It's a tough balance.
What do you call it? Yeah, so, if you ever need to get a hold of me, if you have an interest in checking out my streams, I'm over at Lotus of Doom, or I'm on Twitter at Lotus of Doom. It's nice and easy to find me if you need me.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I've been playing on stream again. I reset up a lot of my overlays and stuff for my game stream stuff. Not for this overlay, it's the same as it's been, but for the other ones. Created some more channel points, all sorts of fun stuff. You guys should check those out. Most of the new ones only work during gameplay stuff. They don't work during podcasts because it has to connect to that overlay. But a lot of auto things that happen if you use some of those. So those are fun. I played some ESO this morning on stream, and that was cool. And I will definitely be doing some more game stuff coming up. It's summer now, and I think my gameplay times are going to change again. For a while there, we were doing like 3:30 in the afternoons, and Kirby Chew, my son, and I were getting on and playing games. But it's summer for him, so he doesn't have class during the day. So maybe we'll play earlier, or maybe I'll end up working and being a dad, and then I'll have to play in the evenings. I'm not sure exactly what my schedule is going to work out to, but I hope to do more online. I hope to also stream more during the day while I'm working on things. And I'm thinking about putting up some new shirts, either on the store or as rewards for patrons. And I want to know what you guys think, because if, like, for example, if we were to set up shirts on the Patreon for, let's say somebody subscribes as a tier 4, or let's do tier 3. So you sign up for $10 a month, and after being a patron for 3 months, every 3 months you get a shirt, and it just mails you a new shirt, and you get cool looking shirts with, like, you know, some of the topics, or maybe we have like a symbol for each of the divines with, you know, Elder Scrolls Lorecast on it, or something like that, you know. And you can collect a series of shirts by subscribing. And if you were, say, a tier 5 subscriber, then you would get a shirt every month instead of having to wait every 3 months or something like that. Would that be the kind of thing that you guys would want? And would it be the kind of thing that would motivate you to sign up if you haven't signed up before? Do you want cool looking shirts? I think it would be neat, but I have to find out if it's something you guys you want, because it takes time to do all the design work, to set it up, and then because the cost of the shirts comes out of the money from the Patreon, it has to be something that's actually beneficial financially. Otherwise, I'll end up just losing money by paying more for shirts. Does that make sense? So please comment on the Discord and tag me and let me know what you think about that, especially if you are somebody who would consider upping your pledge or signing up because you haven't signed up before. If you want cool Elder Scrolls Lorecast shirts, please let me know. So that's something I'm playing with. And otherwise, you can check out all the other shows at robotsradio.net. The Mass Effect Lorecast has been doing amazing. Lots of people are tuning into that. That show is growing. It's almost as big as this show is in number of people who listen every month. It's like crazy. It's growing so fast. So if you're into Mass Effect, go check that out. We've got a bunch of other shows on the network, and we also have room for more Rocket Club members if you guys want to sign up on the Robots Radio Rocket Club and launch your own podcast. So all sorts of fun stuff for you guys. Check out robotsradio.net. All right, Lotus, this has been fun as usual. I look forward to watching you suffer again in some other game in the future. And I
aim to please.
And chat, thank you for being here. Thanks for being here, everybody. Until next time, worship Kynareth, because she's making sure that you still exist. So that's probably worth worshiping. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. If you have something you'd like to contribute to the show, please reach out to us at elderscrollslorecast@gmail.com or on Twitter at ESO Lorecast. I really appreciate you listening, and I'd love to hear from you soon.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.
My name is Brian Burton. It's been 26 years since the bombs fell. And since I've left the vault, I've been trying to rebuild. This isn't the Appalachia that I remember. There's so much more to everything going on. And I promise to find the answer. So if you're out there, if you're listening, just hone in on these coordinates. Remember, there's a place for you at the end. Omega.
The Omega Broadcast Fallout Story is available on iTunes, Spotify, and many great podcasting sources.
Looking for an RPG podcast that isn't just D&D?
Roll to Cast is the answer.
No, wait, sorry. What games have we played so far?
Well, we've done Cyberpunk 2020.
What does it mean? to have a voice.
And there's going to be something big coming, Chumba.
Hey, if you're listening, I won. I beat you. You suck.
There was a time when we were slamming things against our phones and...
Vampire the Masquerade.
Chloe, Sam?
You can't use those words!
He's going to grab Vincent, press him against the wall.
I mesmerize him. This is Adelaide's Anarch move. Burst out of your chair. Your hand goes to your gun and you draw.
Hulk Cthulhu.
Told you I had it.
Oh, we've all got the quips going. I love it so much.
Right there. Screechy child. My favorite daughter.
Maybe after what we just seen, we're feeling a bit trigger happy.
And the new Cyberpunk Red.
Babe, you're good, but we're better.
Thought maybe you might be able to give me a counter offer.
Dos Vidania.
Straight through his neck.
I don't see bone either, but I'm not gonna look. My leg's fine.
I always knew you wanted to fly, kid. Come find me.
Roll to cast.
ROLE.
A new game every season.
Original music.
Original stories. Interviews with the creators.
And delightful Aussie accents.
Listen to us on all good podcatchers.
Even support us on Patreon for bonus content.
That's Roll to Cast.
ROLE.
Come discover a new world.
Once upon a time, 27 years after the bombs fell, there were two people, a vault dweller and a California girl. They met, and sparks flew. That's when things got interesting. Once Upon a Wasteland is their story. Follow Elizabeth Kirby and Odessa Valdez as they pursue their happily ever after in the post-apocalyptic Appalachian wasteland of Fallout 76. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and many other podcasting platforms. Once Upon a Wasteland, a Fallout 76 love story, available now.